All right, guys, welcome to the 35th episode of the Bauer Hour. I'm here with a very exciting guest. I met him in college, a fellow Miami University. Well, he attended for a little bit. He's a former Stricker freerunner parkour guy. Life took a little bit of a turn, and now he's a pretty serious wheelchair tennis athlete and about to graduate with a degree in finance. Hunter Heck, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, Justin. It's great to be here.
Man, I'm excited to have you. I've been looking forward to this interview. We've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah. We you brought it up. I can't remember how long ago that was, and I got excited about it, and then just kind of life just took its course, and we kind of forgot about it. But yeah, what was that, just yesterday that I mentioned it? I mentioned it to you, and you were like, "Yeah, let's do it tomorrow."
Yeah, I have this list of guests, and you've been on one of the top, or pretty much the top of that. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. But let's talk about some tennis today. So you actually played tennis earlier today, right?
Yes, earlier today.
That's awesome.
Actually, earlier today, Dayton News Channel 7 was did a piece on me and my coach, and it was supposed to air tonight, but I was a little bummed to hear that it's not going to air till Monday. So I got to be patient.
Oh, right.
Got to be patient over the weekend, but it went.
Right.
I mean, that went really well. I've never been on the news for tennis before, so that was tight.
Dude, you're just having a really big day. You're doing all sorts of interviews, about to just blow up and get famous out here.
I know, I love it. I was talking to some people. I was like, yeah, I'm having a huge media day. Like, this is not typical, but I'm all about it.
Yeah, no, dude, get that good coverage. But all right, I'm sure we have a bunch of questions on tennis, and I actually just had to look at some. It's called paraplegic tennis, right? Is that what pretty much the official name?
The official name would be just wheelchair tennis.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
like people that like wheelchair tennis players, just those. I mean, it's just tennis to them.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's like, because I'm fairly new. I haven't even been playing for 2 years, I don't think, and
Yeah.
it's been less than 2 years. I was saying to everyone, like wheelchair tennis, like sit down, adaptive tennis, and they're just like, they're just like, yeah, bro, like
Dude,
it's
it's
just tennis.
So that's actually what the other people were telling you.
Yeah.
So in this division, they were saying, yeah, it's just tennis.
Yeah.
Dude, first of all, I love that, because then, I mean, it just kind of shows, we're going to be diving into this later in the episode, but that's just kind of interesting to hear that you guys say that, because it's pretty much your life. It's no different. I mean, granted, it's a little bit different, but the way you guys play isn't very different than the way anyone else plays, and you guys just don't differentiate between that, and I think that's pretty sweet.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just, life is life, and for anybody. So it's just kind of like, this is just that's how we do it. But that, it's different than how you do it, but that's what it is to us. So it's just kind of to us, to us gimps, But people like yourself are. It's actually kind of funny. I kind of laughed the first time I heard this. You're called an AB. You or any other regular person. AB for able-bodied. I thought that was
Right.
a little, because like they just like everyone's just like, they're with an AB, and they just like they went and got some lunch with some ABs, and it's like just say like.
So you guys have your own community too.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about the rules of tennis. And like I said, I had to watch some videos on this. And first of all, for those listeners that haven't seen this sort of game of tennis, really interesting. I mean, it's the same sort of intensity. You guys are still hitting the ball and moving around like quite a bit, and I was actually seriously impressed. But as far as the rules being different, that was just you guys get an extra bounce, right?
Yeah. That's really the only difference. Same exact game. Rallies are, it's a little slower pace, and tend to be shorter. Same game, I get an extra bounce. So like I could play with, and this is one of the big reasons why I chose to get into to tennis, wheelchair tennis. I can play with anyone. Me and you,
Right.
If you wanted to play tennis, I'd be like,
Yeah.
yo, Justin, let's go ahead.
Let's go do
Let's
it.
go play. The only thing I would get an extra bounce, and but we could play. So there aren't too many. There aren't a whole lot of 24-year-old people in wheelchairs, so that appealed to me a lot. I can just say, I can just play with anyone. So,
That's right. And actually, what other sports were you thinking of picking up?
well, granted, I was a I played soccer pretty much all my life. Played a little club at Miami actually, and before finding the gymnastics team, I'm bummed that I didn't find the gymnastics team until junior year, and
I
then
know.
before I even got to the first meet, I got fucking paralyzed. But we'll get to that later. But
Yeah, we will.
question,
Yeah, yeah,
back
yeah.
to the question. Besides soccer, I've been all about the individualistic sports. I mean, there aren't very many, you know. Basketball, like I said, I loved, doing acrobatic gymnastics type, shit. And my family, my extended family uh, grew up on snowboarding, skiing and snowboarding. My cousins, Louis Vito, he's an Olympian. He was in the Olympics for half
Oh,
pipe.
he's a snowboarder. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's a snowboarder. I never was never that good, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot, and so I just it was actually spring break when I returned to Miami after my accident that I was YouTubing like Paralympic sports, and
Mhm,
like realistically, mono skiing, I've tried that and I love
mhm.
that, but that's living in Ohio, that's just not very
That's tough to
realistic.
pursue. Right.
Yeah, and when I did do that, it was kind of like I needed a lot of. I was very dependent on other people, like at least just getting like set up and like dragging my big mono ski like to the mountain and just like getting started. And with a lot of practice, I would have become pretty much almost entirely independent. But
Hmm.
I don't have that time,
Right.
and so it was kind of realistically, it was either basketball or tennis. Um, and yeah, just tennis. I wanted to just be kind of like just me. I didn't want to rely on teammates. I wanted to just do me, and I've always loved ping pong, so it's kind of like the same thing. Uh,
Yeah, so yeah, good carryover, exactly.
yeah.
You've participated in 5 US Open tournaments, is that correct?
Um, really only one U.S. Open tournament.
Okay.
I've competed in five tennis tournaments, but one of them was just a doubles tournament, which I played with my coach
Hmm.
here in Tip City. He's an instructor. He used to be a pro. He's getting a little older. He's not a pro anymore, but
Right.
he's still a freaking boss. He we got it kind of far, but we got knocked out. He was just carrying my ass the whole time. I mean, he's just like so much better than me, but he enjoyed it a lot. And but yeah, the one U.S. Open tournament, they do wheelchair U.S. Open tennis just like they do regular U.S. Open tennis, but they have a separate event actually for it's not even
Okay.
at the same place. So this in 2015, it was in St. Louis, so that was cool. It was cool traveling there. And then they also have a little bit of wheelchair tennis at the actual U.S. Open, but this is
Yeah,
the main wheelchair U.S. Open, and it was at
got
St.
you.
Louis.
Now I'm kind of curious to hear about your training leading up to that, because that's actually kind of intense. 5 tournaments in a year.
Yeah, yeah.
That's quite a bit. So describe the training going into one of these things.
Well, I started yeah, it was like October, November 2014. The end of
Hmm.
2014 is when I
Right.
started swinging the racket, and I started I started doing a lesson. I started quickly moving, once I realized, how much I enjoyed it, I just loved, honestly, I remember one time, in particularly, it was after a month to 2 months of starting, and I was just
Hmm.
like, I broke a big sweat. I was sweating
Mm.
sweating a lot, and I was just like, I felt like I was in the zone, and I felt like I hadn't had that feeling since before my injury, and it was just
Right.
like it just rocked my world. I was just like, our time was over. The lesson was supposed to be over. All right, we need to start gathering up these balls. He's like, someone's got to get these balls up, and
Yeah.
I was like, please. I was like, can we just do like a couple more?
Yeah.
This is what I've been like looking for, and he's
Hmm.
like, yeah, of course, and yeah. So I mean, the training. I mean, the training is twice a week, and it's just kind of
Hmm.
basic drills. He would just feed me balls, and he was a pro, so like he knows what he's doing. He knows his stuff, and he was just like, all right, gonna do the zigzag drill, and he would look up wheelchair specific tennis drills too, and he would
Hmm.
really help me out a lot with that. And yeah, we would just go for an hour at a time.
That's awesome. I have a comment here, then I have a follow-up question on that. I think that's awesome that you're doing it and getting that release because, like myself, it's just a satisfaction of doing something. Whether when I started with swimming, it was that, I got high from getting that good race, and then after that, it was all just gymnastics since, after 18. I'm so glad that you're still doing that because you did parkour, gymnastics, and you were landing all those cool tricks. And when you do that, I mean, for our listeners, there's a feeling you get of satisfaction. Actually, just last Friday, I can talk to this. I was just on a trampoline for about 2 hours, just absolutely loving
Oh,
life.
you bastard!
And it's exact. Didn't mean to rub it in, but then Hunter, you kind of get that same release out of doing that through tennis. So it's not necessarily the way you used to get it, but it's still that same kind of euphoria that you used to feel, that you still feel through sports,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's great.
yeah.
So then my question is going to be, you got on your chair for the first time swinging a racket. What was that like?
I play and I use a different chair, a different wheelchair than my everyday chair. So when
Hmm.
I first had the idea, I briefly mentioned earlier, I came home from spring break from
Yep.
Miami, and I started YouTubing Paralympic sports, and
Right.
it was then when because I had this guy that is my tennis coach. I had him for one summer lesson in like sixth grade. I mean,
Hmm.
I really had never played tennis before. That doesn't really count. But like
Right.
my parents had played at the club, the tennis club, and he's become a family friend. So my mom texted him and said like, "Hey, Hunter is really interested in giving this a go," and he said he was all for it. He got really excited, and so I went over spring break. I went a couple times and swung a racket in my everyday chair. It's not the same at all, but swinging the racket is, if as long as you're not moving too much, it's the
Hmm.
same thing pretty
Yeah.
much. But it felt pretty terrible actually. It's terrible. I was awful. It
Right.
sucked, but I thought, this is something that I can work on again, and
Mm.
something that I can, goals that I can make the goals to improve upon this game and get better, and that excited me. Ordered a chair, got going on it, and it felt 100 times better. And my stroke it started cleaning up pretty quickly, so
Mhm.
then it felt really good.
Right. So this chair you ordered, I actually, well, like I said, I was watching the videos yesterday. The wheels are kind of angled. They're not perfectly up and down, right? They're kind of angled in a little bit, right?
Right, right. It's called camber when people would be more familiar with wheelchair basketball.
Hmm.
It's kind of you could use basketball wheelchair to play tennis, and they're almost
Right.
identical. The main difference is the basketball chairs have like cage, like little like guard cage sort of things in the front because they like
Yeah. Yeah. For all the bumping and
bust
whatnot.
into each other a lot, and
Gotcha.
it's got the wheel in the back, and I have some straps. I have straps to strap me to make my body, like one with the chair.
Yeah.
So
No, that totally makes sense. Two other questions here regarding that. This just kind of came up randomly, but what is you're in these things for an hour at a time. So do you guys do agility drills and stuff? So do you split that up between 20 minutes of agility and do you guys do cardio? I have a lot of questions now.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. Uh, well, generally, just like any other sport, you'd start off with, you get your muscles loose.
The basics,
I
everything.
have fewer muscles to get loose, but
Mm,
I kind of like go laterally on the tennis court and essentially, sprints. And I would just, like just start digging and like I would kind of do like a fake like swing, just a practice swing, and then turn and then sprint to the other side and just do that for. I really don't do it near as long as I should. Just like nobody warms up like they should.
exactly. No one, yeah. Oh my
But
God. That's true.
yeah, I'll do that for at least a couple minutes, and then sometimes my coach will have me do sprints again at the end of practice, just like people do in regular sports. I hate it. I hate it when he brings it up, of course, just like anyone does.
Right.
But at the same time, I love it because it kind of forces me to do it, and I'm always satisfied with myself afterwards. So, but yeah,
And
other
when
than
you
that, it's just strokes pretty much almost the whole time.
Yeah, gotcha. I mean, I can see it being very similar to normal or AB tennis, as you ever
AB,
refer to it,
AB.
where you just kind of run to the position, hit the ball, cut back and forth.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you haven't ever like tipped back or anything crazy, have you?
No, because they have that.
They have that wheelie bar.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I can't even do a wheelie in my chair because it prevents
Yeah.
me from I mean like on like my everyday chair like it helps because like the front wheels of the wheelchair are like real tiny. They're called caster wheels.
Yeah. And then for those listeners, Hunter's doing some wheelies.
I can't quite show it, but
No. Yeah, we got it.
but getting off of those and just using my two big wheels, like the big wheels, travel across any kind of terrain so much better
Right.
than the small
Right.
wheels. So I really quite a bit. But so it's kind of weird. It was, especially at first, it was weird not being able to get into a wheelie. But yeah, it prevents me from tipping over. So I
That's
like that.
interesting. When did you start? Were you always able to do wheelies like that?
I remember in the rehab hospital in Chicago. I remember, thinking, I've always been, somewhat of an adrenaline junkie.
A risk taker. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to, have fun and be athletic and whatever. So, I'm sitting there in a fucking wheelchair and I'm just like, okay, what can I do? And like wheelie, that's like kind of like the only thing that you can do, like. And so I remember my dad would, I don't remember exactly how, but he would basically, he'd spot me while he would spot.
Yeah. I feel
practice.
that.
But like once, I got wheelies down before I even left. It took maybe like a month, and then it's like I could hold a wheelie for like 24 hours straight. Like,
oh my God, that's impressive.
It's like once you get it down, it's just so easy.
Right, it's like kind of like riding a bike.
Yeah. One of the coolest things about it is having the opportunities to travel and just see different places and meet so many different people. It's kind of it's a community just like anyone would expect. Really, that's been a lot of fun. So that I would remember like being like playing a match like in Hilton Head and like just like, oh man, like I can't wait till this match is over. And it's just like wait, like that's the whole point of this is it's just kind of kind of funny. But yeah, it's the whole package is pretty cool. That's what's really fun about it. But
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, I'm glad you're part of a cool community.
yeah,
And are the other guys also kind of action junkie dudes and risk takers?
yeah. I mean, like you can kind of spot them out. I mean, it's just like it's not like the craziest sport. Tennis isn't like too. It's not too insane. But
Hmm.
I mean, it's cool how people being proactive and just doing a sport in general,
Hmm.
and it's also really cool to I don't know in the Dayton area. I don't have any like paraplegic friends that I hang out with. So
Hmm.
it is also cool to get to know all these people that are in similar shoes,
Hmm.
and just kind of be able to talk about whatever and get to share and learn.
Yeah, oh man, I can totally imagine because it is pretty rare, especially for someone to be in a wheelchair and also athletic. That is a super subset of, it's a subset of a group, so you probably don't come
Yeah,
across it very
yeah,
often. So I can
definitely.
imagine, I can see that being pretty sweet. All right, man, let's go ahead and talk about the story of how we met. We'll dive in a little bit of gymnastics, then we'll have you take it away. But Hunter and I, for those listeners that aren't familiar or don't know us personally, we met in engineering school. And I think it was engineering economics class, if I'm not mistaken. It was either that or a thermo. So,
No, actually,
oh
we
yeah?
had we had Hauk together. Physics
Oh, we
one,
did in
physics one together.
physics,
Do you
man.
remember that? Do you remember?
I do. He was the crazy guy, but
No, you were the crazy guy. You were the one doing gymnastics, and I didn't even know about the gymnastics. I wish you would have
that's
like
true.
came
I
up to me
know.
and like told me what was up or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't really talk. I just remember you would always come in. You had a mustache like the whole semester. It was goofy as hell, but it was funny. I was
It
like,
was, yeah,
I was
dude.
so happy that you had a mustache.
I do remember that. Yeah, that was actually way back when. I completely forgot. But we actually didn't end up kind of talking until junior year, right?
Right.
That was when, yeah. So I remember, I don't know how it came up. I must have been wearing a Miami gymnastics shirt or something like that, or you heard of me or whatever. But I remember we talked about doing gymnastics, and then I was like, dude, yes, just come out, do it. I remember you were asking me. It's like, yeah, I've never really done it. I'm like, perfect. No one has ever,
Yeah.
has ever done anything.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty sweet. And then I remember you and your cousin Nick came out. And Nick actually, he's actually staying for the long haul. So Nick was the current captain of the team for I think the last 1 or 2 years. He backfilled me a little bit, but
He's,
you
he,
guys
he
were
just
crazy.
he just graduated, didn't he?
Yeah, well, actually, I think that's gonna be
Or
tomorrow
tomorrow, yeah.
or something pretty soon.
Some
But yeah, I remember the first time you guys came into the gym, you guys were pretty crazy. You told me you never really did gymnastics before, and you just busted out these crazy moves. I remember you did a front full, and for those people that don't know, that's pretty much a front flip going over your head, and as you're flipping, you're also twisting. And Hunter just busted it out. I'm like, my God, dude, it took me 3 years to learn that, and then here he is just going crazy. And then I remember there was one crazy thing too. So this one, I remember a lot of the girls were freaking out for whatever reason, but you did a round off, then a back whip, then immediately into a back or another back whip. So it was just like two really sketchy, big sketchy backflips in a row. I'm like, this guy has got some balls. So
I was
I
I
remember,
was
man,
I
that was
was
a lot of
so
fun.
stoked. I was so stoked. We actually we would always be on the trampoline
Yep.
when we were kids, and we learned how to do wall flips
Mm-hmm.
off of the spring floor and just a wall. And we
Mm-hmm.
we would always we would jump off his garage and like my shed like onto our trampolines, and like we
Yeah.
would just have a blast on the trampoline all the time. And so she mentioned it to him, and I was like, okay, yeah, great, let's do it. And like, I was a little iffy about it
Right.
because I hadn't heard much about the club gymnastics team. But yeah, that's when we had engineering economics,
Mm-hmm.
and I was talking. You kind of convinced me. You kind of convinced me to do it, and I was like, all right, all right, stoked. And yeah, I was. Oh man, yeah, I was so looking forward to getting to practicing and like working
Mm-hmm.
on specific like gymnastics moves and improving
Mm-hmm.
upon that. But just wasn't in the cards. Wasn't in the cards.
Yeah, it's just the team at that time was really sick. It was just a good vibe. Everyone was getting really good, and we just had awesome people. So I love that stuff. But I remember we went out one day. So this is actually, was it the first or second time we went out?
Yeah, yeah, because remember the girls. Remember Mark? He was wearing some tight khakis, and the girls were like, "Oh my God, like look at Mark's junk!" Like, and he just had this like fat rod, just like chilling there. Like he didn't even have, but he just has fat dick.
It was just, yeah, he's got an iguana. So
He's just stacked. But yeah. So and it was just the night of my accident. That was just but
yeah, we started at my place.
yeah, we started at your place.
Yeah, and then yeah, I remember that we headed on over there, and this is well, I left early because I met my at the time my girlfriend for 2.5 years, but dude, the next day, man, I had so many missed calls and shit. I had Facebook messages, like I had missed calls, voicemails, and I was like, oh dear God, like what the hell happened? No one really knew what happened, and then I think Marissa knew for some reason.
Yeah,
So
Riz always knew. Riz always knew.
she did.
But yeah, that's that. I actually like hearing about that night from other people's perspectives
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
I was out, I was. But yeah, we went. I was, and the thing was, I was taking it easy. I was not.
Mhm.
I had a couple drinks, but I was taking it. I was just trying to have a good time and get to know people on the
Yeah, yeah,
team.
yeah.
And I can't remember. I just remember being with Nick and like, all right, let's go uptown. Apparently, I don't actually remember that, but that's apparently what we were doing.
Mhm.
And I just remember it was pouring rain outside. We looked through like the see-through, like the screen door or whatever, and so I grabbed one of her umbrellas and was like, not walking in that. And
Right.
I tell you what, karma got me like a bitch.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
But yeah, so I remember walking to the end of the driveway, and before we even got started on the sidewalk, it was so we got to the sidewalk, and my memory goes blank, and apparently it was several blocks down the road towards Uptown. Um,
Mhm.
apparently there was a uh, we uh, we were crossing the street, and Nick was holding the umbrella. He was holding it kind of slanted, like downwards, because the rain was coming
The
into
rain was
us.
coming sideways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that intersection was kind of like an up. It was a slant up to the sidewalk, and so we were kind of at
Yeah.
the top, and there was someone coming from down below, and they're supposedly going like twice the speed limit, and
Jesus.
Nick kind of catches it in the corner of his eye, like right before he gets hit, and he just dives backwards. He just dives backwards, and I didn't know anything about it, so I just got smoked, and I my yeah my body ragdoll down the road 176 feet.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I'll never forget that number. And I mean, my all of my ribs were either broken or displaced.
Mm.
I had a traumatic brain injury, which thank God I recovered from. My mom and my brother will say like they still notice like some differences in me because of that, but I don't notice any differences. And but my spleen was crushed, and that was they had to do when I got care flighted, they had to do an emergent splenectomy because I would have bled to death. So
Jesus.
that actually came before the back surgery did, and
Mhm.
I'm trying to think what else. My broke my nose.
There's more. Isn't this
I,
enough?
yeah, I got some stitches on my head, but I
Mm.
mean, luckily this is all cool. So
Yeah.
this all stayed Gucci. So I'm stoked about that. But yeah, I had to have my bladder got real messed up. I had to have like uh seven bladder surgeries in the following year and a half. Most of them were quick, like outpatient, but I had two that were pretty big. Um,
Mm.
and my bladder was spastic. So I ended up getting a bladder reconstruction surgery, which fixed that up. So now I just
Mm.
piss myself a little bit when I drink, but that's small
It
potatoes.
happens to
So
everybody. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. One of my lungs collapsed. That's another thing.
Jesus, man. That's quite some shit, and this is so impressive to see. Well, you recovered fairly quickly, if I'm not mistaken. I remember there were a few weeks after all of this happened. I want to say maybe 2 months. I don't know if you remember when I came with Nick and Nate to come visit you guys.
I do, yeah.
I that was
I mean, like a little bit.
yeah, no, which yeah, which is
I remember it
understandable. I remember.
happened. So
Yeah, I agree. And I think this was still really early in your recovery, but whatever doctors you had, they put your body together fairly, they put that together quick, man.
oh
I
yeah.
was super impressed. I remember you didn't have, when I got to visit you in the hospital, I think like the left side of your body didn't have full strength or something, but with your right arm, you could just, I remember we were throwing a bean bag back and forth. I don't
Oh
know if you
yeah.
remember that.
I don't
And
remember
then you,
that.
you try to throw it with your left hand, and you still made it, but it looked like such a struggle.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
regardless, I mean, from all that crazy shit happening to where you were at that point, that was a really sick recovery. I mean, that's one hell of an injury to
Oh
just have
yeah.
recovered from.
Yeah, that's an injury, all right. Yeah, my left side. Yeah, that's it was my left side that I got hit on. So like with tennis, like when I play a lot of tennis, those tennis tournaments, I would always need to get my left shoulder wrapped because and I've needed to get PT manual like physical therapy on my shoulder, but
Mm,
overall it's recovered pretty well. Because honestly, like I said, like my memory goes blank once I got to the sidewalk. So before we even started our trek
mm,
to my buddy's place uptown, I don't have any memory of that. So therefore I don't have any memory of the accident itself either.
right.
Which luckily, I mean that would be a terrible terrible memory to
Things to
have.
remember.
But that made it honestly. I think that's why I was able to make such a speedy recovery from all this, and just stay in such high spirits. The first year, honestly, it just felt like a dream. I mean, I was out with friends, hanging out, and snap of the fingers, is what it seemed like. 2.5 weeks later, it was like hazy, like seeing
Mm,
people in white coats, and like I didn't even realize that I couldn't move my legs for another like 24 to 48 hours, like after I'd woken up. It's
Jesus.
just like it's just like it didn't seem real. I mean, so I think like any of the struggle that came in the recovery phase was just like
Mm,
it wasn't that big of a deal because it wasn't real. Like,
yeah. Wow.
didn't think it was real. So the first year, yeah, it was that, and then the second year, I kind of just had a high from like, uh, from how well I've been doing. It's just like
Mm,
people would I started my blog, and like I got compliments like hand over hand, like all
mm,
the time, and just so much praise, and it's just like, okay, cool, like I'm kind of like everyone thinks I'm awesome, so it's just like
yeah.
that carried me through the second year. And then when that kind of died down, it was like kind of the start of the third year, which was about a little over 6 months ago. it's kind of just like, all right, well, now, all that's over. Now I'm just some like fucking guy in a wheelchair, and it's just like depression starts like started like kick in a little bit, and I had a lot of down times, and that was kind of a struggle for me, but I don't like to think I let that get me down too much or set me
Right.
back too much. I feel pretty good now. I have still have down days, but who doesn't? So I think I'm
Exactly.
just like any other Joe out there now.
That's exciting.
I just roll instead of walk.
Right, that makes sense. And actually, good job bringing that up because that was actually my next question. I actually pulled a quote from your blog, and I can just paraphrase it here, but you alluded to years one and two being a fun little bumper car ride or bumper car, where it was fun. And I actually didn't think about
Did
that,
I
but
say
now,
that?
yeah, that was in one of your blogs.
That's awesome.
Well, the words a little bumper car, yeah, it is pretty fun. And I actually remember a Facebook
Oh
status you posted way back when you're like, it's gonna take more than a speeding car to take me out. I'm like, this dude is kind of a badass. Like
yeah,
that is so hardcore. But I can see that in your journey here, where then you mentioned year three, you said you're just recently coming to terms with being in a chair. So would you like to elaborate on that little roller coaster a little bit?
um, yeah, I do remember the bumper car
Yeah.
quote now. That was kind of just like relating just life in a wheelchair because honestly, I don't miss walking. I mean, I really don't. Like everyone's like, and like some people will get emotional, like especially if we're like drinking, they'll say it like, grab me around the shoulder and just be
Mhm.
like Hunter, like I want you to listen, like I have no doubt that you're gonna walk again. I'm just like yeah, like okay, yeah, yeah, like, cool, like
Yeah.
I gotta like I can't just like say how I really feel to like in response to that because like
Right.
they're like
Kind of opening up.
they're
Right.
opening up, and so I'm just like, hey, thank you, like I hope so, I really hope so, if there ever is a cure or a fix or whatever, yeah, I might walk again.
Hmm.
Probably not going to be pretty though. I mean, if I can't do all the flipping and the activities that I used to be able to do on my 2 feet, like
Hmm.
if I can't do that stuff, then like I'm not worried about it. I'm not
Right.
waiting up on it. Like I'm waiting up on that, but like, well, I'm not because that's totally that's absolutely impossible unless like
Right.
robotic legs come out, which would be super tight for anybody.
Hmm.
But yeah, shit, I can't even remember how we got started on. I kind of
Oh,
went on
no,
a
that's
rant.
fine. I was just gonna, no, dude, that's perfect. I love those rants. But I mean, you already touched on that enough. I mean, how are you doing nowadays? Is it still sort of these little peaks and valleys, or?
One thing that happened recently, I met a great girl and
Mm.
uh, gorgeous girl, and you know, I proposed to her. I'm engaged now. I've been engaged for the past few months, and
Mm.
so that's got my spirits up. I
That's
don't have.
really exciting.
Yeah, it's awesome. I thought, I look back like pictures of me like fresh in the rehab hospital and like I'm like 100 pounds and like I look like shit and like at that time, I had no idea what I would look like now or like what things would be like now. It took a lot of work to get to this point, but it's just
Right.
like at that point in time, it's like I thought, there's no
Mm.
way I'm gonna get married. Like who's like who's gonna want to like spend their life with me? That's really raised my spirits a lot since I've been engaged. It's been awesome. So, but even still, I have lower days, but I don't think there's a single person in the world that I think that's unavoidable to have lower days. But
Right.
I, yeah, I mean, I've been good lately.
Yeah, that's great. I have another question here, actually. So, how has your life changed, and how has your life stayed the same?
We'll start with life, how life has stayed, because that's
That's a little more positive.
that'll be a shorter response. Kind of just get that
Right.
one out of the way with. But
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm still, I was Hunter. I was Hunter before the accident. I'm Hunter after the accident. I'm still like,
Mm.
I still have the same humor and everything. I'm still the same person. I still have the same interests and the same things get me going.
Mhm.
Positivity. Like uh, same person is what I'm trying to say. But
Right.
difference is kind of not the same person. Completely 100% contradict that. Now that I think about
Right.
it, I am the same person, but the difference is I feel like I've matured a lot. Like through that, say that first year or so,
Mm.
that year containing the coma, the hospitals, 2 to 3 months, and
Mhm.
the transition from AB to wheelchair. I matured more that year than I did in the previous 5 years combined. Like
Right.
it was just like, and that's when like I went right after the injury. I went back to Miami, and that was hard for me because it was just like, okay, you've been through all this real shit
Mm.
and all this struggle, and then you throw yourself. And I couldn't wait to do it, but I threw myself. I was thrown back into Miami, the college life,
Mhm.
um, and I did it to myself. I wanted it, and
Mhm.
but it's just like people, like all like the stereotypes about Miami. Like I'm sorry,
Yeah.
it's so they're too true. They're more true than they are
I agree.
stereotypes. Like
And,
there's just so many like stuck up, just people are just full of shit, and it's just like with that like no morals and just like
mhm.
the,
The sense of entitlement is very high there. And I remember you saying this actually, I think I was out with you after you came back with school or back from the hospital and fully rehabbing and everything. There was someone that said, "Oh, I have a brother in a wheelchair. I know exactly how you feel." And it's like that sort of shit. It's like, who are you to say that? It's like, no, you've never struggled. It's like, yeah, maybe your brother has struggled. Maybe you've had to help him with that. But this person is, I mean, they've never really had to deal with anything.
yeah.
Just like a lot of Miami people, they've never had to deal with anything super real or super difficult. So I can totally, well, look at, here I go, but I can see your perspective on that. So,
Yeah, no, that when that and if I would have heard that guy um say something, if he would have said something like that to me uh, now or really any time with like the past year and a half, I don't know, recently, if he would have said something like that recently to me, I wouldn't have reacted the way that I did, but
mm,
it, but yeah, when he was like, yeah, he's like, yeah, I have a sister, or brother, or someone
mm,
in a wheelchair, and they, it's awesome to see. It's awesome to see you though. It's
mm.
out here, and he's just like, I just want you like, just know that like you don't have it a tenth.
Oh yeah, that
You
was
don't
it.
have it a tenth as hard as they have it. So like
Yeah. Oh my
it's really
God.
cool. And that was like when like well like we said like like, recovered really quick. Like I rushed back into life.
Mm,
I was on this high because I felt like I was living a dream.
mm.
It's kind of living the dream, like when right when you get paralyzed. But that's really what I felt
Yeah.
like. And I like had so much difficulty like starting off. Like I didn't even know like I didn't even know like how my body. I didn't know how to take care of my body because I had
Mm,
just it'd been 6 months that I've been in a wheelchair, and I lived over 20 years not in a wheelchair, and I would shit my pants like every now and then, and like it was just so frustrating me. It was so frustrating. It's just like I had to do like all this shit, and it's just like for him to say that just like set me off, and I was just like. I was like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. I was like, we're done talking. Like, fuck off. I don't want to see your face. Like, fuck you. And I just like rolled
Yeah.
away. But now, I think he said something about like I don't know. I've met people that have had it a lot worse off than me. So like,
Mhm.
I would think of that more now if he had said that to me now like recently. But
Mhm.
yeah, it didn't. I didn't take it very well. Plus, I was drunk, so I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, plus they're probably hammered, and everyone around them's hammered too.
Exactly.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. I mean, I think you handled it well. But part of coming to terms with it is going to have to be dealing with that sort of people. And granted, Miami may have not have been the best place to sort of incubate those feelings, and it's not the best environment to be in because you're going to have to deal with people like that are, you know, up here on the high horse.
Yeah. Right. Right.
So you ultimately made the transfer to it was Wright State.
Yeah. Right. See, I wanted to. I'd gotten even closer to my parents throughout the injury brought me closer, and I would say at least half of that reason was actually because I was gonna get started on tennis. It's pretty much been my life, school, tennis, and just kind of do that.
Mhm.
I've enjoyed it.
Cool, man. Well, I think we're done with unhappy stuff. So let's take a change here, more towards more happy shit. You talked a lot about independence on this episode, and that's something I think that well, you've alluded to that through first of all your sports and also your life. And I've seen what kind of car you drive, and I've seen the whole process of you getting in and out. But in other ways, or in what other ways are you focusing on being independent?
Um, I anytime someone asks if I need a hand
Mm,
or if I need help like with anything that just like immediately like it used to kind of piss me off
mm,
but I got used to it, and I knew that I had to get used to it because it's gonna happen a
right.
lot, and it does happen a lot. And it's nice. It's nice. It's people are just like so kind. Actually, a little tangent. My uh, my fiance Sophie, we went to a mall, and I have extra wheelchairs, and we went on wheelchair day. I love wheelchair days because I feel like I'm
That's
not
so
bad
funny.
at it. And we like stopped at the food court and we were eating, and there were these two girls. They were like I don't know 15 yards away from us. They weren't even right next to us. One of them got up and like walked over while we were eating and like looked at my fiance, and she was like honey, like she's like you are so pretty, like you are so pretty. And and I was like, when she started walking away, I was like, oh, so I was like that was nice. Like, sure, feel good about yourself. And she's like, yeah. She's like, well, I mean, yeah, I did. And oh, you're sitting in a wheelchair. And I was like, no wonder. Like, she said she was so, out front like that. And she's
Mm.
like, yeah. She's like, you just got that? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Sorry, you're not usually in a wheelchair. I don't think about it. But yeah, I mean, like, people are, always, I get a lot of free shit too. I was at Starbucks the other day, and I was like, yeah, I want a medium iced white mocha, no whipped cream. Yeah,
Mm.
thanks. And I just like went to wait on my drink, and someone else had went up to the register, and I was just like, oh shit. I went back, and I was like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't even like think, and I like pulled out my card. I was like, here's my card.
Mhm.
She's like, oh no. She's like, no, you're fine. She's like, it's good. I like
Wow.
this one's on me. I go to Chipotle and all the time, and I get free. I've gotten like 5 free burritos in the last like year and like a few chips and like,
That's
yeah,
solid,
everything. So
man.
it's
Yeah.
just like people are so nice. So it's like I don't really mind it so much anymore. Like it's it has its perks, but independence I don't like people doing things for me physically. Uh,
Hmm.
I have pretty good upper body strength, and it's the only muscles that I have working in my favor. But
Right.
they're in pretty good shape as of now, at least. And so anytime someone tries to, especially when I'm drinking, I like if we got stairs that I would usually have someone help like get behind me and steady my wheelchair and a wheelie and like, lower me down like
Yeah.
bump bump bump, and I'd just be like no, I think I got this, and like I'll
Mm.
go for it. And like a couple weeks ago, like I busted my phone up
Oh
because
shit.
I was out and I did that and I ate shit. It's actually really funny though, because uh every time I fall at all, I don't know if this will sound familiar to you at all, but anytime I like fall or anything, I'm just like, I sell it. I like,
Oh yeah. Milk it a little bit.
ah, ah! And it's just it's just like force a habit. And so I
Right.
do it like, especially if I'm busting shit, like I'm doing
Mm.
it like, and like, and people just like rush over and like, oh my god, like, are you okay? I'm like, no, I'm fine. I was like, yeah, I was just messing around, I was just having fun. But that was a little rant on independence. I don't know, kind of.
That's fine. I love it. Let's see here. One last question, or a few questions here. Let's circle back to that interview today. How'd your interview go?
The Channel 7 news.
Yeah, Channel 7 interview. How'd it go?
Yeah, it went well. I mean, the guy seemed he seemed like moved by like my story. And I mean
Mhm.
that happens all the time. Like
Right.
people are always moved by my story, and there probably be some people that listen to this that'll be moved by my story. Well,
Mhm.
people moved by my blog post. I don't really. I mean, maybe with my blog a little bit I try that, but I don't
Mhm.
really. I just kind of
It kind of
I
sells
just like
itself, really.
I just like sharing. Like I'm
Right.
not trying to like I don't know. It's just it kind of it just feels a little funny sometimes, but at the same time it makes me feel good. Back to like what you were saying when you quoted something about, or yeah, you quoted like no car is gonna, or someone's gonna,
Oh
they're
yeah.
gonna have to do more
Yeah.
than hit me at 50 miles an hour. That's the SUV. Like I've always been really stubborn kind of guy. A lot of guys are, but
Right.
I'm definitely one of them. And so I get in these moods every now and then, and I love these moods. I wish I was in these. Had these moods every day, and for a long time I did have these moods every day. I'm working on kind of working back up to getting into these moods every day, but these moods I'm thinking to myself like I just think to myself that like I'm the fucking man, because like it's like it's like if if I'm getting all this shit done, like if I'm doing good in anything, like if my life is going really well, various aspects, and I'm in a wheelchair, and it's like I have like me compared to any regular person, I have a lot more to worry about, to think about, to deal with.
Mm.
It's like it's just like it's like I'm not like I'm gonna show like the world just like what I can do. Like it gets me excited. I think everybody has to be be cocky, kind of an asshole, like to themselves. Like
Mhm.
if they don't share it with the other people, then that doesn't mean
Right.
it's real. It doesn't make it. If you gotta like have your mental like be saying that, because that'll like keep you driving. I mean that's how it is for me at least.
Mhm. I think that's your competitiveness. I think that's even from way back before the tennis thing, even the tricking thing is just always raising the bar and kind of claw to that next level.
Yeah.
So that's
Kinda what it's
pretty much
about.
inherently a part of you, and that's always going to display no matter what or what circumstance you're in.
Yeah, I hate it when I kind of lose that mood or that attitude, which
Hmm.
happens on my on my down days. It's kind of just
Right.
like man, I just wish I could be an asshole every day. Like it's like it's just like I'll kind of like I'll force myself to start thinking of various things, and that'll kind of force me back into that mindset, and then I get back on track.
That's good, man. That's what I like to hear. All right, we are actually we're a little bit over time, but that's fine because I love this has just been fun, man. It's been a good story. I've never really heard it from your perspective, and kind of just opening up this tennis thing is also pretty awesome. Where can people find you? Because you mentioned you had a blog, right?
Yeah, I've got a lot of really good feedback on my blog. I like I said, I don't write as much as I used to, but sometimes that's kind of a good thing too, though. I don't force I don't force blog posts. I only post something when I know it's gonna like when I know people are gonna enjoy it, and I know it's good stuff. But
The website is hunterheck.com, right?
yeah, it's real simple. It's real easy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And yeah, for those listeners, I mean, he does have a wealth of information up there. And if you're just interested in hearing about the story and kind of the peaks and valleys a little bit, as well as the engagement post is really cool. It's kind of the inside the life of someone with a spinal cord injury. So I'd highly recommend it for people to gain that perspective. I think that'll be it for today's episode. So,
All right. Well,
all right,
thanks,
Hunter, it's
Justin.
been a pleasure.
Thank you, Justin.
I'm excited. I'm glad we finally did this. So this is going to
Yeah.
be a cool one for people to listen to. So, but yeah, man, good luck with your tennis journey. We're excited to keep following that and keep killing life. Happy engagement. And that should be it.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Take it easy.
Enjoy your night. Yep, that's right. All right, everyone, that is it for this episode of the Bauer Hour. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that chat with Hunter. He is doing some really cool shit with his life, and despite coming over all of that difficulty, he's still incredibly optimistic, still moving forward in sports life. Engaged now? Oh my god. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed that chat. You guys know where to find me. Facebook.com/The Bauer Hour Podcast. Send me a tweet at The Bauer Hour Pod, and I'm actually putting a little more content on there. I tweeted at Waka Flocka Flame a few days ago, and that kind of went a little bit viral, so that was kind of funny. If you need to email me for any reason, check out Justin at The Bauer Hour. Send me something nice there. Otherwise, that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys on Sunday. See you!